Hi everyone, it's Samantha from the Dancing Soap Dish here. I hope you're well. It's Mosaic Soap Challenge time again. Thank you to everyone who's following along with this. If you're looking for all the other projects, there's a special Mosaic Soap playlist on this YouTube channel that you can find all the tutorials in. But for now, I want to introduce to you September's edition of the Mosaic Soap Challenge. And we have these beautiful fall leaf mosaic soap bars. So I've used square mosaic tiles cut into the shape of a maple leaf in beautiful fall colours, just random colours. And look, I think they've got sort of like a patchwork quilt sort of look to them as well. And they are warm and fresh and cozy. They have a beautiful orange spicy scent to them. And I'm just loving them. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And again, as part of the Mosaic Soap Challenge, I'm going to show you today how you can make your own. So the first thing to do is to make some base bars, which you'll rest your mosaic tiles on top of. I'm using a clear melt and pour soap base here, and I'm weighing out 350 grams. My aim is to make 4 approximately 80 gram soap bars. If you're using Imperial, go for 4 3-ounce soap bars, so you'll need 12 ounces of soap with a little bit extra for wastage. I'm also adding some gold mica to some essential oils here, the essential oils that I'm going to use to fragrance my soap. They have a little bit of an orange colour, so they will turn my soap a little bit creamy, and that's fine because I always use this scent around fall because it doesn't matter if you go a little bit orange around fall. Orange is a fall colour. So here we are. I'm just going to add this in. Make sure you give it a stir before you pour this in because the mica does tend to settle on the bottom. There we go. And mixing the mica with your fragrance oil first will just help it incorporate into the soap a bit better because mica does tend to float on top. And this way it is much easier to mix in. There we go, looking good. I'm also going to add some titanium dioxide because I want an opaque soap. I'm looking for a creamy sort of magnolia champagne-y colour for my base bars. I've put the gold mica in it because I do want a little bit of sparkle, but basically I want a mostly opaque bar that when you look at the bar, you might be able to see a little bit of gold sparkle in it. Maybe not so much when the bar's set, but definitely when the bar is wet, you'll be able to see that gold mica coming through. So I'm just checking here whether it's opaque enough and whether I can still see the gold. I'm probably going to add a little bit more. Try and get it a little bit lighter. Yep, that's looking good to me. All right, and once I've done that, I'm going to pour it into a circular shaped soap mold. I'm going to pour 4 60 gram bars. You can do 2-ounce bars if you're using Imperial. I've put my soap mold on a tray and then on a set of kitchen scales so I can weigh out even weight bars. I'm going to pour 60 grams into the first cavity. Then I'll give it a spray with alcohol to get rid of those surface bubbles. Then I'll set the scales to 0 again and pour my next bar. And so on and so forth until I have 4 60 gram soap bars or 2-ounce, if that's the way that you want to go. The reason that I've made extra is because I will need some more soap to work with my mosaic tiles and also to grout them in at the end. And I want that soap to be exactly the same color and exactly the same scent as my base bars. So I have made extra soap, which I am going to put into a paper cup. I prefer to use a paper cup, but you can just use, another empty soap mold that you've got. It doesn't matter what shape it is because I'm actually going to just take it out and chop it up and reuse it. So it just needs to go somewhere where you can pop it out and use it again when you need it. So there we go. While my base bars are setting, I'm going to do my mosaic tiles. So I'm using these silicone mosaic tile molds. I'm using the square sections today, so just the 3 square sections. I've got 3 molds so I can get through things a lot quicker. I have some beautiful fall colors here that I'm going to use. There's some beautiful soap making mica. I also have some leftover mosaic tiles from other soap projects that I've done. I always keep my leftovers and my scraps. I've got some scraps here as well because I don't like to waste my soap and I can reuse them. Here's some of the mosaic tiles from the neon mosaic soaps I made. Okay, so I'm all laid out and ready to go. I've also added a green and a brown mica. I'm going to weigh out tiny amounts of soap here because I'm going to do 2 colors per square section. So I end up with 6 colors over my 3 molds. And I find that it's really necessary to melt small amounts of soap in really tiny containers or else it just burns. So I'm using these tiny shot-sized paper cups to melt my soap in. I'm just putting in leftovers. So for example, this one's going to be orange. So I was putting in all my yellow, pink and orange neon tiles. I can reuse those. And then I'm using the mica once that soap is melted to get the color to the color that I want for my fall leaves. This next one will be red. So I'm whacking in red, pink. You can see I'm also adding a little bit of white, just a tiny bit of white to each and every cup because I want my soap to be slightly opaque. I don't want it to be too transparent. Just it's my personal preference. When I'm using mica, I sort of always like to add a tiny bit of titanium dioxide just to, I don't know, sort of smooth out. I find it smooths out the color. That's just something I like to do. So as I said, I'm going to be making 6 colors here. I've already done the yellow, the orange, the red, the gold, and I'm doing green here. And my final color will be brown. So brown's easy. You can pretty much add any color that you've got left over, any sort of scrap. If you're trying to make brown, that's fine. Because if you're mixing everything together, you normally end up with brown anyway. So there we go. There's my final color, and that's the brown. I set those aside, depending on which base you use. It can take anywhere from 20 minutes, half an hour for an hour for those to set. Mine set really quickly. It's only about 20 minutes later. So I am now assembling them into these little patterns that I know that I'll be able to cut a leaf shape out of back into the square molds. I'm only going to fill up the squares that I need. So that's why there's sort of a funny little shape. Now I have a teaspoon. And I'm just going to scrape any of the soap off the joining lines or any of the sort of, if there's any of the back of the soap that's really bumpy or knobby, I'm just going to give that a little scrape down just to clean it up. There we go. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit of soap over all these tiles to glue them together. And I just want a clean surface to pour that onto. So here is my leftover soap that I put in my paper cup. I can tear it out of the paper cup and I will just end up with this beautiful block of scented and coloured soap, exactly the same as my base bars. I'm going to chop that up again, and I think I'll need about 20 grams I'll probably use, which is, I don't know, 3/4 of an ounce. So I'm just going to pop it in my little glass measuring cup that I like to use here. There's a tiny bit there. I'm going to pour it over the back of the tiles, just like that. That's exactly what I want. So it only takes about 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, it's still a little bit soft, but it's set enough for what I want to do. And I'm going to peel back the mold. The best way to do this is to peel the mold back from the soap rather than try and peel the soap out of the mold, because you might end up breaking it apart that way. So there we go. I'm going to peel that out. One little square didn't quite adhere here, but that's fine. It's not an issue. All right, so we have these here. And now I'm also going to do my other 2 maple leaf sort of assembly. Again, I'm just putting the colors in just randomly, making sure that really there's not too many of the same color next to each other, and just going for sort of different color combinations. Again, there's another 20 grams of soap. There we go. And I've poured that over there. While that's setting, I'm going to use a craft knife, or X-Acto knife, whatever you want to call it, to cut out my leaf shapes. So I just have to do either diagonal or straight cuts. It's very easy to do. You don't really need any sort of artistic flair for this. All you need to be able to do is cut straight, which is quite easy with a good knife. And I am cutting out, as you can see, a little leaf shape is appearing, and it's got a little stem too. So there we go. And I will start on the next one. That one had one of the stem blocks fell off, but I'm actually thinking maybe I don't need the stem to be that long. I wasn't quite sure how long the stem needed to be, but I think a short stem is fine. I'll even cut that other one off. There we go. These ones are set enough now that I can quickly cut them up too. I now have 2 leaves here. I'm working on my third. Again, very easy just to cut the squares either along the lines or cut them diagonally. And you get these beautiful sort of patchwork leaf patterns. I think they're really cute. I like my little leaves with a little stem as well. There we go. Here is my final leaf. Now there's all 4 ready to go. Okay, I'm just going to reuse again. You know, I really love to reuse, so I'm pulling out any of the cream colored soap that I can use again. I'm not exactly sure how much I need for the next part, so I don't want to run out. I have a toothpick and I'm going to perforate in between the tiles with the toothpick. So I'm just punching some holes. This will just help the embed stick to the base bar when I grout it in. I'll pour a little bit of soap and then put the embed on top, and then the soap will be able to come up through those holes and make sure that there won't be any bubbles underneath the embed and that it'll sit nice and flat. So there we go. All right, now I'm just going to pop these where I put them on top of the base bars. I'm just flattening out the tiles as I go. Some of them are a bit curled up or not sitting quite straight, so I'm just pressing them down. Here I am. I've cut up the rest of my soap and also used some scraps. This will be used to grout it in. So I've melted that. Got a good 60 grams there. Let's give that a bit of a stir. You will need some isopropyl alcohol for this point and a spray bottle that will be able to spray the alcohol very liberally. I really want the alcohol to go on thick and heavy for this next part of the process. So I'm going to take these out again, because the first thing I need to do is spray them with alcohol, give them a good drenching, and also spray the top of my base bar. I'm going to pour a little bit of soap in and then just press my embed into that little bit of soap and make sure that it's centered and exactly where I want it to be. And then I'm going to take some more soap, pour it around the outside and also over the top of the soap. But because I drenched it with alcohol, I'm going to give it another drenching now. You'll find that the soap just sort of, don't do this with your finger. You know what I forgot? Whenever I do this, I always have a cotton swab on hand to do this bit, and I forgot to get one. So I'm going to have to go get one now and do it for the next one. Don't use your finger, but if you have a cotton swab, just sort of gently wipe off any of the excess soap sitting on the top. So again, a good spray with isopropyl alcohol. Put a little bit of soap in. Use that to press down and position your embed, and then cover the embed and the surrounds with some more soap. Give it a really good spray, and then a Q-tip dipped in alcohol. So this is a alcohol soaked Q-tip here, and use that to wipe off any excess soap that might be sitting on the surface. But you'll find it drains away quite easily because of how much alcohol you've used. So that's really good. Okay, good spray. There we go. I'm sure you're getting the process now. You will need to work quite quickly, but you know, you don't have to go too fast. There we go. Pouring this round. Just make sure that your soap stays fluid. You really don't want it setting and becoming gluggy halfway through, because that will stop it flowing evenly between the soap tiles and grouting them in beautifully like these are doing. A quick clean up there with my alcohol soaked Q-tip. There we go. And lucky last, in goes this one. Gonna push that in there, give it another good spray, pour the soap all the way over the top. See how it's just draining away, especially if you spray it with a little bit more alcohol. And it's very easy just to use the cotton swab just to wipe any soap sitting on the top away. And then you have these beautiful grouted in mosaic soap tiles. These are lovely. All right, I'm gonna let these set overnight. I find if you use a lot of alcohol, sometimes your soap does take a little bit longer to set, so keep that in mind. And we'll demold them tomorrow. It is tomorrow right now. Here we go, here they are. They are beautiful and shiny and fully set. I'm just loving them. They really did turn out quite well, I think. I like the colors, I like the shape. You know, maybe you might want to do each leaf the same color. That would look really pretty also. You know, if there was a red leaf and an orange leaf and a gold leaf and a green leaf, that could come out really well too. Or if you like the patchwork kind of effect that I've got going here, that works well. As you can see, I'm just very carefully demolding these. So this is the back there. There's a beautiful bar. I can see some gold mica shimmering through. I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up. But they do look very sparkly, which I really love. I'm a sparkle girl. There we go. So here we have them. 4 beautiful little fall leaf mosaic soap bars. They smell delightful, warm and spicy. They're warm and inviting for any fall bathroom decor you want to bring home. As you can see, it's got a little bit of curved up edges around where it was touching the sides of the mold. You can sort of wipe them off with a dry cloth, or even cut them off with a pair of scissors if you want. Or you can just leave them like that. I mean, as soon as you start using the soap, it'll come off anyway. So there they are. I hope you enjoyed September's Mosaic Soap Challenge, these beautiful fall mosaic melt and pour soap bars. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out all the other amazing tutorials on our channel and website. Thanks guys, enjoy.